Hello world. It's Wednesday, December the 5th, 2018. Present time, 10:04 p.m. I drank a couple of beers earlier tonight, 2 IPAs, while having a sit-down meeting with a local entrepreneur. I'm glad I did it, because it could be the start of something promising. I gather from the man's energy that he's feeling pretty optimistic about our being able to establish a mutually beneficial working relationship. So, suffice to say, I'm pumped. I'm so damn excited for the future. This next semester, it's just gonna be, it's essentially just gonna be me coming here for the bare minimum. Eating food here, perhaps, when I'm not, dining with other people. And I don't know what to say, it's just good. Things are just good. Okay, that's my spiel. Senor Nito Mosquito, welcome back. I'm curious, will we ever speak? I'm here. Trying to make myself available. God damn, dude. I don't know if you caught it, but there were times before I started up this program again, I make a statement to the effect of, right now I'm giving my time away for free, but in the future, I'm going to charge a lot for it. A lot. I've got a lot of catching up to do. I've got a little thing on their grandson, part of their own ice hockey. We were talking about ice hockey briefly. Those are sick. First gen NSX. A really, really sexy car. This guy's been sharing photos of his. Wow, it's bright. Okay, so today's reading is from a book called Good People. I'm gonna need a minute to figure out how to pronounce this guy's name. Punched in? Why do you need it punched in? I guess there's a little bit more. like that I now have control over light here. Makes a big difference. I like that I'm gonna be back home before I know it. That makes me really happy. Look, I'm just happy, man. So I guess there are a couple of things I want to do tonight. One of them is to continue collecting data, and the other is to read. Yeah, I know. Senor Nito Mosquito. I don't know if I'm a millennial, if I count in this cohort. I think so. Maybe I'm just on the edge of the one before X, Gen X. We actually had a seminar in which they talked about the various generations. So, yeah, like, I'm a millennial as well, right? Because I was born between the 1980s and 1990s. I've had the benefit of having some friends that are older. Dude, you should holler since I'm on Discord. Like, I've been trying to keep open lines of communication everywhere because I'm really quite happy to talk to folks. If I'm not talking to folks within Discord, people that I meet through broadcasting, then I'll just go and like pick up social smoking and talk to townies, you know? Nothing against townies, like it's good to have a strong local network, but I'm really happy to invest time back into the folks that actually consume the content here. I'm happy to go deep in one-on-one discussions. And I know I don't have all the answers. Like, after all, I'm just another player in this game. Just another small streamer right now. Just another one of the many MBA students out in the world. Just another Chinese American guy. Ah. So we actually have something in common. Outside of Destiny. The fact that we've both moved around a lot. So I personally feel that's a lot more significant than most people would give it credit for. It's up to you to find these people. I think you're already on the right track. I tell you what, these days I primarily don't even use Discord on the computer. It's not actually a standalone app. I use an app called Station. And if you haven't heard of Station before, I recommend checking it out, especially if you use a lot of web apps. You'll find Discord is there, Slack is there, Google Drive is there. and then just like this whole multitude of other ones. These days, you need very little actually occupying space on your hard drive. Everything is in the cloud. And if you're not comfortable with the cloud yet, what can I say? Getting comfortable with the cloud, I think, is a good thing. Sorry to hear about your phone, though. It sucks losing a phone. Ooh, somebody wants to chat with me. What up? Who's this? From Houston. 666 miles away, man. Alright, cool. That's really cool. Dude, I might even pay for like the premium version of this app. I don't know. We'll see. Price discrimination. They want men to pay for the privilege of being able to chat with women, and I don't know if they have women pay at all. Gotcha. When it comes to photos, everything that I take, like all my photos right now are backed up to Google Photos, and like I feel pretty comfortable in trusting Google to hold on to my photos. I know that they run machine learning algorithms against them. They train their neural networks against them. To me, not only do I not care, I'm actually grateful that they do this, because it means when I'm sitting down, as I was today at dinner time, with a couple of other students, and I want to show them something, like this guy sitting next to me, he served in the Singaporean military. They do two years of mandatory service. So I sit down next to him, and like, knowing that he's been in the military, I asked him when the last time was he shot, and then I just search gun in Google Photos, and I find all of the photos and video I have with guns involved. Hey, Blue Boss. How you doing? Your name, man. Yeah, like things like that are pretty cool. I'm talking to this Chinese girl. She's talking about the NBA and going to catch a game out in Atlanta. And I searched the word basketball, and I can find a picture of Yao Ming that I took. Just like shit like that. It makes it really powerful. And to me, worthwhile. And that, plus they're backing up all of my photos that I've ever taken for free, along with all of the 1080p video I've ever shot. Nobody else is willing to give me that deal, man. Glacial Racer 743. Hi. Did you choose that name? Yeah, so like I don't worry about photos these days. I was for a while sweating it, just thinking like I need to maintain a local copy. I need to maintain, in addition to a copy in the cloud. But now I look at it, it's just like, dude, I'll trust the cloud. Like, it's fine. I'll just keep everything really secure so that nobody else but me can ever get in. And, if companies want to run machine learning, like train neural networks against it, run some algorithms against my data, so be it. I accept that because I'm obtaining this good or service for free, that I am the product. That's fine. It's a small price to pay, in my humble opinion. I'm surprised that you chose the name, man. But welcome. What brought you here? almost blew my eardrums there. John. Blue Balls of Fury. Today I'm doing pretty well. I added this girl on Facebook, and I had a face-to-face meeting with a local entrepreneur that went well. I accepted the offer letter provided from the company that I'll be working for as an intern. And I met with the residential life contact that I've got. She more or less advises me to hold off on a move until the new semester comes rolling through, because I'll have more options then. You've been following. But what brought you here in the first place? It's something that I like to ask, because this channel is, it's not a really flashy, loud channel. It's a really laid-back channel. It's not one of those that's got all the bright lights and the flashing neon signs. It lacks the glitz and the glam of the big guys. So I wonder. It always makes me curious when people come around. Because, literally, there are, for every one channel like this one, there are 99 that look better. Just from the thumbnail, from the title. I've got the most vanilla stuff out there. The realist of the internet. There you go. That's what you find out after a while. It's not immediately apparent. Oh, also another good thing that happened today. This guy that I met, a friend of a friend, I talked to him about YouTube and social media a bit, and he revealed to me that he had a YouTube channel that had gotten 30,000 subs. He told me that he got a lot of those subs through social media automation. He was using a bot to comment on other people's YouTube videos, doing follow for follow type stuff. And when he started it off, he had maybe 300 subs. He paid $500 for this tool, and it went off. So he went from 300 to 30,000, which is insane. And it was just by relentlessly engaging at a rate that only a bot can do. But after he botted, YouTube shut down his account. Glacial Racer, I understand. Thank you. I'm glad that you decided to stop by when you did, and that you've come back again tonight. Truly. I know you've probably heard this before from folks that are broadcasting, but yeah, I mean, just knowing how garbage tier this broadcast is, really. One day when we've got the glitz and the glam, all the flashing lights and neon signs, it'll be a little different. Oh yeah, so what brought you in here? Oh, the neon sign looked interesting. The flashing lights caught my eye. That's really cool. That's a good looking gun, I know. I know, man. And that one student I was chatting with, the Singaporean guy, he was talking oh man, I like him. I like the guns. I know, man. Oh, my guns too. They're a lot of fun. He was really surprised by how little recoil there was out of the AR-15. He's like, where's the recoil? I told him it's a really soft shooting. He was shocked. Guys, I'm going to set up for this. There's a little thing that I have to do. It's really simple. Twitch has this great feature now. And I'm feeling my stomach kind of acting up. I think because I had 2 little glasses of eggnog. And the cream is probably getting to me. Yeah. Okay. I'll be right back. Sorry. Let me switch over to this scene too, so that it's abundantly clear that I will be right back. Creators Club? Something like that. It's gonna happen. I think between the dude that had the 30,000 subs on YouTube and myself, I think we're both interested in finding more content creators here locally. The RA on my floor, he's in this visuals, like it's called, I think it's called visual storytelling. Really interesting name to it, you know. So he shot a bit, he edits, produces videos. We'll see. Try to get together a crew and do some cool shit because this place has facilities. I'm excited. Okay, I'll be right back. Yeah. Yeah. What? It's not right. Technical issues. It's, you know. You know how it goes. John. TJ. J sound. Excuse me. Alright, I think I'm ready to do this thing. Budget half an hour. Okay. Hey, have yourself a good night. Thanks for dropping by again. And don't apologize, man. It's all good. I'm gonna be around for the foreseeable future. So don't worry, you won't miss the good parts. Eventually they'll be really easy for you to find. It's all part of the game. Oh, shit, I just hit my head against that thing. Without further ado, Good People by Anthony John. Good People from 2017 restates the case for goodness in the cutthroat world of business. By redefining goodness and good people as crucial elements of a successful enterprise, Anthony John challenges the notion that we can only succeed through our skills and competencies. Who should read this? Business people seeking a work-friendly definition of goodness, people looking to become more well-rounded, and mentors hoping to supercharge their leadership skills. Who wrote the book? Anthony John is an author, entrepreneur, business consultant, and CEO of the Q-Ball Group, a US-based investment firm with a people-first philosophy and a focus on human capital. Previously, John co-authored Heart, Smarts, Guts, and Luck: What It Takes to Be an Entrepreneur and Build a Great Business. What's in it for me? A new framework for goodness. It's common to hear business leaders say that a company is only as good as its people. But do they really mean it? The fact is, in most workplaces, people have been conditioned to appreciate a person's competencies over their values. And while a person's skill set is important, no amount of marketing magic or workflow wizardry can make up for an average character. A people-first approach might sound fluffy, but it's actually a savvy business decision. Placing values above competencies, investing long-term in human capital, and compassionately mentoring your workforce creates a positive workplace culture, improves productivity, and creates real value. But first, we need a shared framework for defining goodness, living up to values grounded in goodness, and resolving tensions when they arise. In these blinks, you'll find out how Benjamin Franklin used to practice integrity, what a U.S. airline can teach us about respect, and 5 key questions to ask if you are a mentor. Goodness in competency differs from goodness in values. If you think about the word good, your mind probably grasps at various definitions and forms a stew of multiple associations. After all, does a good dog really have anything in common with a good idea? Good has become so overused that it's lost any clear meaning, and things get even messier in the world of business. If you call your coworker good, are you referring to her well-balanced personality and core values, or do you mean she's competent at her job? Often it's the latter.
In fact, an employee's goodness is predominantly measured by skills and competencies, not by their human nature, values, and moral code. That's partly because measuring someone's goodness and competency is easy. From technical skills to academic accolades, goodness and competency has plenty of measurable markers to choose from. Think about your last job interview. Did any questions try to uncover your core values or conception of humanity? Chances are the interview was based solely on things like your industry knowledge and spreadsheet skills. These are important, but goodness and values, instilled in employees and wider business culture, is even more crucial to corporate success. It's a mistake to view the principal tenets of goodness, truth, compassion, and wholeness, as soft skills that can be neglected. Workplaces that genuinely incorporate these values display happier, more productive workforces. These values cause positive change in the world and benefit the bottom line. There's nothing soft about them. This makes sense because stripping away a company's margins and market share leaves nothing but a group of people determined to achieve a common goal. Financial health is contingent on the relationship between people, their values, and the workplace's culture. Why wouldn't you want these things to radiate goodness? Just consider the WD-40 company, a popular manufacturer of household products. It is uncompromising in its people-first philosophy. WD-40 views its staff as their top priority, and mentorship at the company is taken quite seriously. A WD-40's supervisor's sole responsibility is her team's well-being and success, and thanks to this, the approval ratings for superiors is regularly around 96%. The financial impact? Today, WD-40 is valued at over $1.5 billion, and staff turnover is 3 times lower than the national average. We need a shared set of principles to define goodness and structure our actions. So, goodness should be distinguished from personal competencies or a business's balance sheet. That's all very well. But what is goodness, and how can we be good? There's no easy answer, but adopting the good people mantra helps. This is a practical framework which guides our behavior and identifies goodness in others. It has 5 basic principles. First, be people first. This means proactively placing human beings above ideas, targets, and even profits. This is easier said than done. Harvard Business School Professor Georges Doriot argue that, given the choice, most people will choose a great idea over a great team. Why? Because most of us get excited about inspiration, not the disposition of our colleagues. Doriot believed this is a mistake. A great team can adapt, motivate team members, and transform average ideas into stellar ones. People create ideas, but ideas don't create people. Second, assist others in becoming better, fuller versions of themselves. Doing this requires patience, honesty, and above all, recognition of our shared humanity. Understanding that we are all imperfect human beings. On this common ground, we can encourage people to realize their unique potential and help them blossom. Third, prioritize a person's values over their competencies. This helps us better identify goodness in others. Industry experience might look good on paper, but core values and belief systems tell us more about future potential. Fourth, channel balance and pragmatism when practicing goodness. We live in an imperfect world full of competing priorities, between which tensions will inevitably arise. Navigating these tensions with a clear head is vital to keeping them from limiting what we can achieve. For example, the author stresses that in his organization, Zappos, he seeks a balance between idealistic and pragmatic employees. The former he values for their optimism and energy, while the latter are crucial for implementing ideas and strategies. Fifth, we need to consistently practice goodness. Too many people do so only when they're being observed or see a clear advantage for themselves. But this runs counter to goodness's core principles of truth, compassion, and wholeness. Goodness requires that we consciously and consistently live up to our values, internalizing them until they become a core part of ourselves. The foundation of the goodness pyramid is truth. In a way, the good people mantra fuels goodness. Its clear, standardized principles keep the engine of goodness running. But an engine needs to power something, and the most effective vehicle for goodness comes in the shape of a pyramid. A three-tier framework, the goodness pyramid offers us a shared vocabulary about what goodness actually is. At its base is truth. Unless you are truthful to yourself and others, you won't be able to act and think authentically and congruently. Without it, your foundation for goodness will be hollow. But truth is more complex than it seems. Truth itself is comprised of three core components: humility, self-awareness, and integrity. Truth starts with humility. Being humble to those around you helps maintain a lifelong intellectual curiosity and boosts your sense of humanity. And it's also a key leadership trait. The media focuses on hard-nosed executives and no-nonsense CEOs, but leadership imbued with authentic humility inspires coworkers to be humble, down-to-earth, and devoid of arrogance. That's why Jim Collins, in his 2001 book, Good to Great, described humility as the most essential trait in the world's best business leaders. Next, truth is about self-awareness, because this allows you to intelligently reflect on your strengths and weaknesses, ultimately becoming truthful with yourself. But self-awareness is also a skill, and one that can be strengthened in many ways. Writing, meditation, psychometric tests, and seeking out feedback from peers are all activities which, when undertaken with an open mind, increase our capacity for reflection and self-awareness. Truth's third element is integrity, because this trait ensures a truthful coherence between your professed values and actual behavior. A great exercise for measuring integrity comes from Benjamin Franklin. Each week, Franklin would draw out a simple table, writing the days of the week along the top and the values he strived to live up to along the left-hand side. Every day, he would judge if he'd lived up to his professed values, and if he had, he would tick the corresponding box. This is a simple but highly effective way of practicing goodness and ensuring integrity. The center of the goodness pyramid is compassion. Consider a world where everything revolves around truth. Sounds good, doesn't it? Well, yes and no. Sometimes the truth can be hard, cold, hard, or even brutal. Sometimes, as the old saying goes, the truth hurts. That's why truth isn't the aim of goodness. It's merely the starting point. To truly define goodness, we need to look to the center of the goodness pyramid: compassion. Compassion is an exercise in complete selflessness. It looks outside the self and allows us to perceive the feelings and experiences of others more clearly. Despite that, it can be difficult to see a place for compassion in the cutthroat world of business. That's because in traditional business settings, we've been conditioned to equate compassion with weakness and ruthlessness with professionalism. That's why hiring practices are often guided by the mottos, weed out the bottom, and hire slow, fire fast. But practicing compassion is crucial in building a unique, inspiring, and productive workplace. In fact, it helps catalyze performance and motivates teams to nail important deadlines and organizational objectives, because they can clearly see how the team's success impacts those around them. Compassion has three anchoring values: openness, empathy, and generosity. First, openness is a state of mind which counters negative biases, allowing optimism to seep through like light through the cracks and making it easier to feel compassion. One good way to practice openness is by following the 24/3 rule. Designed to prevent hasty judgments, it imposes a minimum wait time of 24 seconds, 24 minutes, or 24 hours before responding to a colleague's idea. In this time, you explore all the possible advantages of the idea before delivering your verdict. Empathy is the attempt to understand another's feelings. Good people possess high levels of empathy, allowing them to effect positive change in the workplace by better connecting with their coworkers and feeling compassion for them. And the best way to practice empathy is by asking genuine questions. From simple things like, "How are you? Really?" to heart-to-heart inquiries like, "Are you happy working here?" Finally, generosity is the last anchor of compassion. Generosity benefits the giver and the receiver, making it key to bridging the age-old divide between compassion and competition. For example, author and professor Adam Grant observed in his bestseller, Give and Take, that the most collaborative, generous students in American medical schools tended to fare more successfully in their future careers. The crowning trait of the goodness pyramid is wholeness. Maybe you've heard the saying, "Life is a marathon, not a sprint." If it rings a bit hollow, maybe this is because it assumes that everyone measures their life against a neatly defined objective. Replace life with wholeness, on the other hand, and the saying makes a lot more sense. Wholeness is both the highest point on the goodness pyramid and the hardest to achieve. Wholeness is a state of being, and it comprises three elements: love, respect, and wisdom. But it's the search for wholeness, a search which never truly ends, that is important. The search for wholeness is the highest expression of someone's goodness. Love might sound strange in a business context, but it's not about developing romantic attachments to your coworkers. Instead, it's about caring deeply for others' well-being and happiness. And it also means possessing a love for your company's brand and values. In short, loving what you do. In his book, Love Marks, former chairman of advertising firm Saatchi & Saatchi, Kevin Roberts, argues that love and respect should become central pillars of the brand-consumer relationship. Brands, therefore, should ignore trademarks and instead create love marks, memorable moments that leave authentic imprints on consumers. Beyond that, wholeness is characterized by respect, both for yourself and for others. Consider how U.S. airline JetBlue reacted to the disastrous fallout from delays caused by an ice storm on Valentine's Day 2007. With public opinion of the airline plummeting, JetBlue CEO David Neeleman issued a public apology full of respect and empathy for how customers had been affected. Neeleman took full responsibility and explained how JetBlue would prevent the delays from happening again. Using the old school approach of the customer is always right, he put respect for the customer front and center. The final trait of wholeness, wisdom, puts intelligence and experience into practice. It helps distinguish important things from unimportant, enabling us to make better choices. In a business context, this could mean knowing the difference between a fad and a trend that's here to stay. True wisdom is more than this, though. It also allows us to distinguish between factors we can and can't control, and prevents us from dwelling on the latter. It helps us make more accurate assessments and better appreciate complexity, so that we can see life as black, white, and 1,000 shades of gray. This ability to read situations clearly is especially important when we face the tensions of the real world, as we'll see in the next blink. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Reinhold Niebuhr. Tensions are inevitable when practicing goodness. Do you remember how, as a kid, your paper plane never flew as perfectly as you'd have liked? Well, the same can happen when you practice goodness in an imperfect, contradictory world. Designing a shared framework for goodness is one thing, but implementing it in the real world is quite another. We're always going to encounter tensions at work, even when we try to implement goodness. And these can often act as roadblocks to our good intentions, forcing important trade-offs. One tension is between short-term and long-term thinking. Though most of us understand the importance of planning for the future, our decision-making still tends towards short-term rewards. But why is this? Well, it's partly because of Amara's law, which says that we overestimate short-term effects and underestimate long-term effects. Just look at the culture of instant gratification we've built in business. Public company CEOs struggle to improve their short-term gains every quarter, and investors typically make trades with the hope of selling at a profit in a few years' time. But building anything meaningful takes patience and skillful navigation of the tension between long-termism and short-termism. We have to be particularly vigilant, of course, about our bias towards the latter. One shining example of this vigilance is prolific investor Warren Buffett, whose successful long-termism is the stuff of legend. In 1999, Buffett received a torrent of negative press for not investing in the then ballooning dot-com bubble. Critics slated him, labeling him old-fashioned, conservative, and behind the times. Instead of responding, Buffett quietly exercised patience, having the integrity to stick with his long-term growth strategy over making a quick buck. In March 2000, when the dot-com bubble began to burst in dramatic fashion, Buffett's strategy was vindicated. And this thinking applies to people, too. By mentoring colleagues, both personally and professionally, we tease out their full potential, transforming them into strong individuals who add real value to our company in the form of human capital. We can do this by generously sharing our specialist knowledge and skills, providing honest but kind feedback, and instilling individuals with a powerful sense that they can realize any objective they wish to. The RISE decision-making framework can help us overcome workplace tensions. So, tensions inevitably arise between goodness and an imperfect world. But how should we act when they do? Well, there's a 4-step decision-making process we can use to untangle our reasoning and make sense of difficult, complex situations. It's called the RISE framework. To use it, begin by recognizing a situation. This means evaluating its risks and potential outcomes, and also having the wisdom to set realistic expectations for these. We should not waste energy dreaming up perfect but impossible solutions. When Singapore won its independence from Malaysia in 1965, then Prime Minister Lee Kuan Yew recognized that improving Singapore's port infrastructure was vital for the nation's economy. But he also realized the challenges this would pose to locals through the transformation of their communities as immigrants would pour in, a clear tension between idealism and pragmatism. By recognizing the situation early on, Lee was able to navigate this tension successfully. For example, he established the Central Provident Fund, a statewide pension plan and corporation that enabled citizens to feel ownership of their country. The next step in RISE is to internalize the situation before we act. This goes past recognition, and the goal is to deeply understand the issue at hand and mentally explore all potential outcomes. And internalizing a situation works especially well in the world of investment. For example, when Anthony John co-founded Minilux, a nail care services company, he was in no rush to get going. Even after an accepted business plan, all partners spent a huge amount of time internalizing the concept in minute detail. This patience paid off. Today, Minilux is over 10 years old and impacts hundreds of thousands of people, from shareholders and employees to suppliers and customers. Third, it's crucial we share our reflections on a situation with a select group of good people, whether it's mentors, co-workers, or family. Doing so gives us the benefit of multiple perspectives which might contribute a different, previously unexplored angle on the issue at hand. Finally, it's time to execute. The essential factor here is to have the conviction that the decision is the right one. A great way to boost our conviction and bring in elements of self-awareness is to turn to pen and paper. Once we've made our decision, we should write it down, along with why we made this choice and our logical reasoning behind it. In the future, this will aid us in the process of learning by reflecting on previous decisions and instigating a positive feedback loop. Goodness transforms our capacity to mentor. Striving for goodness is important for all business people. But when we're in positions of leadership and authority, it becomes absolutely imperative. Once we possess a high level of responsibility and the power to influence the lives of people we lead, the Good People mantra stipulates that we must attempt to inspire, motivate, and help them realize their full potential as human beings. And by incorporating goodness into our daily practices, we supercharge our abilities to mentor and become inspirational leaders. This starts with a key distinction between mentoring for training and mentoring for goodness. Just as most of us tend to recognize competencies over values, most mentor-mentee relationships tend to neglect the teaching in pursuit of goodness in favor of measurable business skills. These are important, but the mentoring relationship should first focus on authentic connection between partners and establishing a common set of values. Doing so renders mentoring for training both more enjoyable and effective. So we need to authentically connect with our mentee before we drill down into technicalities. But what's a concrete way of using goodness to become a better mentor? Well, we should exercise our compassion and empathy to become better listeners. This sounds counterintuitive because it feels like the mentee should be doing all the talking, but it makes a great deal of sense. Genuinely listening and being receptive to our mentees enhances our understanding of the relationship, deepens trust, and sparks inspiration. When asking questions, it's crucial to avoid what author Margot Fiden calls phatic communication. Phatic communications, Fiden argues, are everyday words and phrases which are convenient, meaningless, and entirely procedural. Think, "How are you?" or "If you don't mind." These should be avoided in mentorship and also in life, as they're devoid of compassion. We don't truly listen to the answers, and eliminating them is a surefire way of becoming a more compassionate and empathetic listener. Here are 5 critical questions that good mentors should ask mentees. What are you truly trying to achieve? What are you doing well that is helping you get there? What is slowing you down? What will you change tomorrow to help you get there faster? How can I help? These questions are important because they strike an important balance between discovering the truth and offering compassion. What's more, they do so authentically, without phatic communication. Overall, when we live according to the good people mantra, strive towards the goodness pyramid's values of truth, compassion, and wisdom, and recognize tensions as they arise, we can supercharge our work environment, foster goodness in others, and become good people ourselves. Final summary. The key message in this book. We've been conditioned by corporate culture to value a person's competencies over their values. But in truth, the latter are far more important. Skills are more easily measured, but a person's character is what adds meaningful, long-lasting value to a company and its culture. We need a new framework for defining goodness and guiding our actions, and another for dealing with tensions which inevitably arise when we practice goodness in the real world. Practicing goodness can make us better employees, mentors, and human beings, but also benefits the bottom line. Actionable advice. Practice phatic abstinence. Phatic communication, you will remember, refers to the phrases in our language which have become so routine they've lost their meaning. To build up your empathetic reasoning and listening skills, try to go a whole day without communicating in phatic language. If you need to ask someone how they are, ask how they really are, and give the answer your full attention. Suggested further reading. Dare to Lead by Brene Brown. Dare to Lead from 2018 explores how you can find the inner courage to lead a great team. Drawing on her own experiences as a leadership coach, as well as recent research, this book explores how you can harness your emotions, quash your fear of failure, and become a daring leader in an increasingly competitive world. Hello, people of Binks. I've seen a couple of people run the Binks raid command. Oh man. I feel like this light is it's really effective. You know, like it's just past 11 and I'm starting to feel like I'm pretty ready to wind down for the night. Which is good. It's really a good thing. I think this was a really good buy. Anyhow, I'll be back. I'm going to switch over to the be right back screen. Excuse me. Looks like there's a... Actually, it looks fine. Alright. Yeah, I'm going to switch it. It's going to be bright, so watch out if you're paying attention. Alright, I'm back. Whoa. Quite a lot of you out there. I don't know what time it is out there, but I hope you're doing well. Okay, it's good. I've got 4.5 hours of driving ahead of me tomorrow. And the place I'm headed over to, Bentonville, Arkansas. Bentonville, Arkansas. Let's see. Bentonville. I'm curious at what time the sun will set there. It's kind of important. You know, the days are pretty short now because it's winter time. We're still just getting into it. I don't even know when the sun gets up over here. Also, look at this. I mean, it's just like it's stuck. It's pretty frustrating. Sun sets there at 5:01 p.m. Right now it's just above freezing over there. Cold enough for black ice to appear on the road. Compare that with here. Wow, it's colder there than it is over here. That's actually quite surprising. The sun sets here at 4:45 p.m. right now. Wow. Winter time. It's no big though. I'll be okay. So if it sets at 4 or 5 o'clock over there, I should leave here by noon. just to ensure I've got some time to make pit stops on the road. Meaning, after I wake up, what I want to do is start packing, getting squared away, go get the car, do a little bit of shopping. I've got some meal points remaining that I want to burn. Yeah, I'm gonna go to bed soon. Like, I know that the Binks raid just started. Yeah, but I got shit to do. Besides, let's be honest. There's probably somebody that's being more entertaining than me right now and streaming part of Binks. Yeah? If you're here, get you your Binks raid, get that command punch in. Do what you do. Get you some coins. I guess just mute or whatever you do. Sometimes I wonder. I really wonder. You know, previously I was streaming over to one of those big open stream teams, and that was I don't think it was doing anything for me. And then I thought, well, maybe I have to switch gears and jump over to Binks' stream team, since I'm a Binks partner. You know, maybe it will encourage me to spend more time getting to know the other Binks partners and stuff. And right now, I really don't know. I think I've got some inkling of a clue where it is I should be putting my eggs in this Twitch basket. And other platforms like Mixer, I'm not sure yet. Things like on YouTube, I don't know. There are a lot of baskets out there. All these different platforms. But this, after all, is just the beginning. Like, this whole thing. It's just... establishing the base. I think at something like 100 of those readings have been pushed out to YouTube. No, it's nothing. When we hit 1,000, that'll be something to brag about. Did it. Just 1,000 is a big fucking number. Take 1,000 by 30. Talking like 500 hours of just talking. Just that. I can hit that in 3 years. Just under Yeah, there's a long road ahead of me in this space. And I'm really excited. Like, I'm so damn excited. Call me crazy, but I'm a true believer. Hey, you. What do you want to learn about? I mean, you're out there. You can hear me. What, what would make this worth your while? What would actually make you sit up straight and, like, listen? Really, really listen. look at that in a minute. That's crazy. Yeah, what even, man? What even? It's just so far out of left field, I'm not even gonna bother. You get what you reward. Like, something to think about as a marketer. Somebody who wants to build systems. Really. We all want the same thing, right? Broadcasters creating this channel. It's supposed to be a conduit through which we can reach our audiences, connect with them on a more personal level, develop new relationships, all of that. A company like Binks builds up around this idea of helping broadcasters, also providing incentive for people to lurk. I appreciate it, really. Wow. That's pretty shocking. Okay.
cautious optimism. This is a figure of speech that I remember one of my close friends saying. He used it while we were back in college. I call him from time to time. You know, I developed a good deal of rapport with him through the years that we've known each other. Forgetting about being able to chat with him. So I'm cautiously optimistic about a lot of things. But in general, optimistic. Increasingly prepared to make some moves in the right direction. That provides sufficient margins for shipping things out if anybody wants them. Through Buck and Pop. Like on a single unit, there's pretty much no money to be made. But the increased awareness do the thing. Anyways, world, enough of my rambling. Tomorrow, I'm gonna pack up. You know, like get some grub, get things together, get my car, get loaded up, fuel up, and bounce. I can't wait to see everybody again. I can't wait to make some moves over this break. It's a good thing, actually. With or without the income. Anyways, if you're still with me, thank you so much. I'll see you again soon.